So before I explain how do you build your own option buying system, first let me give my perspective on why option buying system is currently very important in this kind of market scenario. Now consider what is the worst case scenario for an option seller. What is the worst nightmare for an option seller? Be it intraday or be it positional. Once they have taken a position, if market goes against them big time, like market moving up 10% or 20% or moving down 10% or 20%, that is the worst case nightmare for them, because if they are non-directional system players, definitely they would lose money on those days. But many people just wanted to control the loss. So consider that day market tanked 10% or 20%. So by the end of the day, will you be happy or will you be sad? You definitely will be happy because you have closed your position probably at a 0.5% loss or 1% loss. So considering such a kind of big move, you are happy that okay, you're able to control your losses. But if you're an option buyer on that day, definitely it would have triggered and you would have made a huge profit. But in order to run option buying system, you have to go through multiple losses. But if you are a person who is running option buying plus option selling, that day you would have controlled your loss with respect to option selling, but by the end of the day you would be net long, but you would have gone long with respect to your option buying position and you would have made a very big fortune on that day, considering such kind of big movement. So that is exactly where I want to be in when such kind of movement happens. I not only want my option selling system to come out with a minimal loss, I also want to be net long on such kind of day. For that, I definitely need an option buying system. So I am not creating an option buying system to make huge returns on the long run. I am trying to combine the option buying system with an option selling system so that in case of such kind of extreme black swan events, I have to be net long instead of net short. So considering this, I have created an option buying system and it's been running fine for the last 3 to 4 months. Let me show you how the overall performance has been. So this is the overall live returns of my option buying system, which I've been running for the last 3 to 4 months, where it has given approximately 12% of overall returns, where the absolute returns is approximately around 13 lakhs. And the best part is the maximum drawdown did not go beyond 2.5%. So that is the maximum loss that I have seen, considering this is an option buying system on a positional basis. So I'll explain what are the things that has worked for me so that when you're trying to build your own option buying system, you could apply these principles and try to build it. See, with respect to option buying system, everybody knows that it is really hard because of the consistent loss, back-to-back loss that you could face it. It is not like option selling system where you can make small returns over the longer period of time. With respect to option buying, it is totally opposite. You have to make small losses over the longer period of time so that once in a while you can make bigger returns. See, that is why it is not recommended to run the option buying system as a standalone system, because the kind of psychology that you need to have to handle such kind of huge drawdowns is very hard. But when you mix option buying with option selling, then overall it becomes much easier to handle the drawdown. And when it comes to option buying, what is the right strike that you need to choose? So you have in the money options, you have other money options, you have OTM options. When you deal with OTM options, you very well know that only if there is a very big move in the markets, you are going to make huge returns. Otherwise, the OTM options, if the market doesn't move in your favor, obviously you're going to lose money. Even if the market stays sideways, you're going to lose money with OTM because of the theta decay. So when you're running OTM options strike, you have to keep in mind that once in a while the returns can be huge, but overall you have to see a lot of theta decay in between, but that can be compensated with respect to your option selling system. So what I do, I'll combine both in the money option then OTM options because of two reasons. In the money option, there will not be much decay that is happening, and second thing is I'm trying to make a similar returns what a future system will give me. So with the cost of option buying, because when you try to run a breakout system with futures, obviously the cost is much higher. But when I'm running the same breakout system with in the money, my cost is much lower. And also I might not make huge exorbitant returns when there is a big move, but also I'm not going to lose considerably because of theta decay. But when I combine with in the money then OTM options, what happens is once in a while these big move, when it happens, these delta with respect to OTM option starts accelerating. So dealing with option buying system is dealing with a relay race. You would have seen different people standing at different points where the first person has to run harder and hand over it to the other person, and he has to run even much harder, and he has to hand over it to the other person, right? So this interlinked is like how the OTM option works. When it starts at the beginning phase, you might not see a big appreciation, but when the market moves big time, this OTM options will accelerate and start becoming an at the money option, and then from there it can become an in the money option. And from then onwards, for every move that you see, you will know in the underlying, you will see a equivalent move with respect to in the money option, because your OTM has now become an ITM. This is exactly like how you are betting on a multi-cap or no multi-bagger. All multi-bagger stock was once a small cap or micro cap stocks, right? Initially it will be small cap or micro cap, then it becomes a mid cap, and then becomes it a large cap. Exactly that is what will happen with respect to dealing with OTM options. Not all small cap becomes multi-bagger. There could be same scenario that can happen with OTM options, where not all your OTM trades is going to give you exorbitant profits, but those one trades or two trades which is going to give you huge returns. So that is why it is really important to consider both in the money options as well as out of the money options with respect to your strike selection and option buying system. And why I have chosen positional, not intraday option buying system? See, even though people are worrying about gaps, when you are dealing with the trend following or when you are dealing with breakout system, if you get the direction right, the maximum money can be made from the gaps. So if your direction is right, you are not going to limit your overall profits within that 6 hours time frame, because intraday, no matter whatever the movement that happens between 9:15 to 3:15, that is what you're going to capture. But when you're dealing with option buying system on a positional basis, not only this 6 hours time window, in addition to that, these overnight gaps can be hugely beneficial. So the maximum profits has come from these kind of option buying systems with respect to gaps. If you go back and track your any kind of backtested systems with respect to option buying, you can clearly see that 80% of your overall profits will come from only 20% of the trades, and these 20% of the profits will be very huge when big movement happens. So I am considering these points when I'm trying to build an option buying system on a positional basis, because I want to capture those big gap moves. So that is why I moved from intraday to positional option buying system. So the chart that you are seeing right now is nothing but the multiples of R. It is a standard format. Like for an example, if I'm risking 1%, then if the stop loss is hit, I'm going to lose 1%. In case if the stop loss is not hit, how much percent I'm going to make in the trade? Is it 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever it is? So multiply of that R gives you what is the overall risk reward ratio. So in this chart, I'm seeing if I'm risking 1%, and because of sometimes the gaps is not working in my favor, at the max I'm losing only 2%. But when it works in my favor, there are at times where I have made 14 times of my risk. I've made 6 times of my risk. I've made 8 times of my risk multiple times. So this can only happen when you involve OTM option strikes in your option buying system. Also, you should start making use of TradingView and ChatGPT. See, the window that you're seeing right now is one of the system or a testing which I've been doing with respect to mid-cap index, where you could see that it has shorted here and then it is able to cover at this place, and you can easily create these Pine scripts, like whatever the scripts that I have created using ChatGPT. I don't know anything about Pine script, but if you can give your logic to ChatGPT, that can write all your code for you, and you can copy paste that here and try to backtest it. That can give you what is the overall returns. So you can just keep fine tuning your strategy in the initial phase with respect to TradingView and ChatGPT, where for this, in order to write Pine script, you don't need to subscribe to ChatGPT Pro version, and also you don't need to subscribe to TradingView also. With the free version, you can easily give your scripts, or you can easily give your conditions to ChatGPT. That can give you the code. You can just copy paste that code here, which is going to give you the conditions, like, okay, you can visually track what happens with respect to your conditions, and then you can fine tune your strategy and try to build from there. So don't directly go and try to build an option buying system from any kind of backtesting tool. First, observe the market behaviors with respect to chart in TradingView, see how it works, and whatever the changes you can do it, and then come back to your backtesting tool and try to build your systems from there. And one more thing that I have seen is many people, when they are dealing with option buying system, they totally show that their overall returns is from the capital deployed, not on the overall capital. See, I'm trading my overall option buying system with a capital of 1 crore, but my risk per trade is very, very minimal. What if in case I consider my capital deployed as my overall returns? So what, the earlier chart that I've shown you, right? What is the overall returns, overall drawdown? Let me show you what would be my overall returns and overall drawdown if I'm considering the capital deployed with respect to each and every trade. So this is my overall returns if I consider what is the overall returns with respect to capital deployed in each and every trade. So I'm almost making 2500% of overall returns in the last 3 to 4 months. My absolute returns is same, almost 13 lakhs returns. But if you see the overall drawdown, I am at a drawdown of almost 1000%. See, the drawdown when it hits 100%, you are losing all your capital. When you are hitting a drawdown of 1000%, which means that you are losing 10 times of your capital. So if I'm trading with, say, suppose 50,000, then I'm losing almost 5 lakhs in this trade. So obviously, when you are trying to show your overall returns with respect to capital deployed, the returns percentage will be huge, like 2000, 3000. Similarly, the drawdown percentage will also be huge. So recently I've shared on Twitter that I have faced almost 24 back-to-back losing streaks with my option buying system, where taking 2 back-to-back trades or 3 back-to-back trades itself is very, very daunting. But when you are trying to do an option buying system and when you face these kind of losing streaks, it is really, really hard with respect to your trading psychology. But in spite of that, I'm still able to take the next trade. I'm still able to take the 25th trade after seeing continuous back-to-back 24 continuous losing streaks, is because the overall loss that I faced is only 2.7%. That's all. Because I have kept the risk per trade as very, very minimal with respect to my overall capital. So it doesn't affect me and it doesn't bother me, so that I can easily take the next trade in spite of such a big loss, continuous back-to-back losses. So this is the today's profit that has come from option buying system, where it made almost 1.6 lakhs of overall profits. So considering 24 back-to-back losing streaks which I have faced, and if I was in a doubt that okay, I shouldn't take the next trade, let me wait and watch, then I would have missed today's opportunity of making 1.6 lakhs profit. What made me to take the next trade is the risk per trade is very, very minimal, so that it allowed me to take the next trade with ease without any psychological impact. So that is what you need to mind. You need to keep in mind when you're trying to build an option buying system, to keep the risk per trade very, very minimal, so that it doesn't affect you psychologically. So these are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're trying to build your option buying system. First and foremost thing is strike selection, which is having a combination of in the money plus OTM. And second thing is focusing on the underlying first. Don't directly go to an option backtesting tool and try to create an option buying system by changing various parameters. First, observe the underlying and see what are the repeated patterns that you could see with respect to any kind of movement during the overall periods. And try to use ChatGPT, give certain prompts and try to test those prompts in the underlying and see if it works fine. And then go back to option, any kind of backtesting tool and try to implement your logic and try to create system out of it. And third thing is, don't try to put all your capital in one trade with respect to option buying system. Risk very, very minimal. If you are saying that if I'm risking 1% with respect to option selling, then I'll be risking only 0.5% with respect to option buying, because in option buying I have to face continuous back-to-back losing streaks. So I try to keep my risk per trade very minimal with respect to option buying system. And fourth thing, never try to trade option buying system as a standalone system. Try to combine with option buying versus with respect to option buying plus option selling, so that on the long run the overall equities curve will be really smooth. And the final point is, when there is a black swan event, you have to ask yourself whether you are net short or net long, so that not only you are happy that you are coming out with a minimal loss with respect to your non-directional system, also you'll be really happy that your option buying system would have gone long on that day, giving you a huge profit. So this is what you need to keep in mind when you're trying to build an option buying system. I hope you found this video really helpful. I'll see you guys next week with another video with another topic. Bye.